Okay, today I wanted to go over some last minute tips. This is a video you can review once or twice before the AP test this year on May 13th, the Wednesday. I hope that you don't burn out because I know it is the second week, and for some people it's the last test, and for others it's a day where you have to take this and then also physics, so marathon day. The MCQ is first. About half of it is on writing improvement, sentence improvement, paragraph improvement, and about half is on reading. So it's good to do the practices like the supplemental. It is 1 hour. Do not skip any questions. There is no penalty for guessing. There used to be a penalty. It was like 1/4 of a point. No penalty now, so don't leave any of those things blank, and then you get a few minutes as a break afterwards. Wolf down a granola bar or go pee, whatever you need to do, and then come back and get ready for the essays. The most common multiple choice questions are these word and context. Those are pretty easy. You don't even need to read the passage for that. Main idea, as you're going through the passage, be thinking about what the main idea is, because chances are there'll be a question about that at the end, and if not, there's usually a question about the tone or the mood. So be thinking about those things as you're skimming through the passage. Terms are easy. Function is a little bit more complicated, and the nice thing about the online test now is if it says like in lines 10 through 13 and then it has a question about the function, those lines will be highlighted, so you can go back and look real quick at the highlighted lines. And then organization, structure, deductive, inductive, classical, Rogerian, etc. The 3 prompts will be in this order: synthesis, analysis, argument. So again, you shouldn't be surprised. You can theoretically do them in any order you choose. I would do them in this order and spend about 10 minutes going through the synthesis, and then 40 minutes writing, and then analysis 40 minutes, and then 5 or 6 minutes to hammer down a chicken foot. They will give you 1 scratch piece of paper or 2, so you can do a chicken foot on your scratch piece of paper, and then 40 minutes to write. So it's 2 hours and 15 minutes, and you have to pace yourself. For question 2, analysis, remember, if you cannot recall the exact term, that's okay. Do the best you can. But remember that discussing the TPE, the tone, the purpose, the effect, is more important than remembering that it's asynenton or polysynenton, although that demonstrates more sophistication. Make sure you read the prompt carefully and know exactly what is being asked before you dive right in. That's important. I always tell my students to zero in on the key instruction words. Speculate. Every nonfiction piece will have various sort of levels of complexity and perhaps a shift or 2 in the mood, in the tone, perhaps in the point of view or the syntax. So look for that. I call it the holy shift. This will take you to the next level. For the synthesis, try to cite by saying the author name or title, or you could do source A, source B in parentheses. You have to have 3. I recommend you have 4 or 5. And yes, you can bring in outside information. And remember, the synthesis is not worth more. So don't spend an hour on the synthesis and then cut yourself short for the argument. And if you can synthesize the sources within themselves also, AP readers will love that. For the analysis essay, again, you can always fall back on connotation. We started with argument and then we went right into diction. We talked about how words have positive, negative, or neutral connotation, but go deeper than that. Does this connote love? Does this connote anger? Does this connote sadness? And then tone, purpose, effect. I can't emphasize that enough. TPE. And you can certainly earn your money on syntax, because most kids in the country don't know diddly about syntax. Okay, they don't know anaphora, epistrophe, and Tim to bleed, chiasmus like you do. For again, the analysis essay, you can always look for irony. English nerds like myself, we love irony. We think everything is ironic. It's usually in there somewhere. The College Board loves a good paradox in the analysis passage. And you might even see irony in the argument. I like this sign. Posting signs on windows or doors is prohibited. Funny, there's a sign there. Irony, however, is encouraged. See how nerdy English people are? That's probably on some English teacher's classroom door. How many sources must you use for the synthesis? 3. I do 4 or 5. Remember, the TPE is more important. Tone, purpose, effect. And avoid repeating the exact words of the prompt. I call it parroting. Okay, if you have a pet parrot, they just say what you say. So if you cuss all the time and use vulgarity, they're going to be sitting around the house saying damn it all the time. You don't want that. Okay, AP Comp is AP Rhetoric. A lot of my colleagues call it this. This test is assessing your thinking skills as much as it is your writing skills. So be willing to take risks. The AP reader will love an extended metaphor. They will love a creative hook that you come full circle to at the end. For the analysis, if it's an analysis of an argument, there will be words that imply that. So if you read the prompt closely, it will say like Gandhi's position, okay, or Churchill's view. So if you see words like case or view or position or argument, then you know, okay, I can talk about diction, I can talk about syntax, tropes, but I can also go heavy on argument. And then make sure you tie it back to whatever the prompt is asking, like Madeleine Albright's message to her audience. Okay, so all your TPE should point to the message. Avoid shows, go deeper than that, use the effective verbs, avoid positive or negative, think about all the diction terms, avoid writing in conclusion in your conclusion. English teachers do not like that, it's unoriginal. Okay, vary your sentence length. If your first 3 sentences are the exact same length, like 25 to 30 words, okay, you're going to make the AP reader think, well, this person's very mechanical and robotic in their writing. Okay. For the question 2, the analysis, they've cut and pasted this passage. It's not the entire Kennedy speech. It's not the entire Albright speech. They've strategically cut and pasted it. So the front line or the first line and the last line or 2 will be important. Discuss their TPE. Remember, you don't need to explain the terms. Your audience is an AP English teacher or a professor or a teaching assistant for English. So they'll know what polysyntheton is. They'll know what asyntheton is. Use all these verbs like convey or reveals or connotes or advocates. English teachers like that. Okay. Shows, not so much. Speculate about our culture. Okay. For the pieces in the last few years, they've really kind of gone heavy on our culture, and they want you to think about our culture, our society, maybe technology and its impact on our culture with AI and the iPhone, entertainment and its impact on our culture with Paramount and Netflix battling it out, money in America, what it means to strive for perfection, what it means to embrace the moment, the balance of the community and the community needs or the individual. All these things are related to our culture. For the argument, if you just recognize the complexity of the question, they're not going to give you a question that's necessarily black and white. So if you recognize that right away, that's half of the purpose of the argument, and demonstrate that you see that you see the nuance. I would look for your evidence first and then your assertion, because you may be like, oh, I feel this way, but then you're like brainstorming and you're like, oh, I can't think of any books that would fit with this. But then you might think of a current event or historical example that helps the other side. Okay, don't use hypothetical evidence. They're going to see right through that, and it's not convincing. Introduction possibilities. How do I hook them? You could start with some sort of illustration. You could start with a recent dramatic event. You could start with a statement intended to startle, or a quote. This is my least favorite, but people do it. You could go right into your answer using a anaphora, a parallel sentence, or epistrophe, a compound complex sentence using a semicolon properly. AP English teachers will like that. For the question 3, don't BS your argument. Use the BCH that I've taught you, books, current events. We've been studying those and trying to bone up on current events lately. Historical examples. I know a lot of you are studying for AP US. Or you could use book culture, or current event, book, or book, history. Just don't BS. The verbiage is going to be important for the argument. If it says the extent to which, then think of varying degrees. Is this always true, or is this sometimes true? Is it true to a certain degree? Again, that's part of the sophistication, the understanding of, hey, this argument question that they're asking is not black and white. Most things aren't in black and white in our culture, in our society. So think about the example we had. The extent to which Bacchus' claim about the value of possessions is valid. Do we value possessions over the epic story? If you use a fictional book like Lord of the Flies or The Great Gatsby, then tie it to a real life event. Tie it to something in our culture today. So Lord of the Flies is these British boys on an island. It's fictional. It's supposed to be a symbolic novel, almost an allegory. But we've seen Lord of the Flies situations in our culture, like with the LA riots, or with the looting after Hurricane Katrina, or with some recent protests. If you use The Great Gatsby, you could talk about the one percenters. You could talk about the billionaires in our society. You could talk about organized crime in our society that exists today. Multiple choice, no blanks. Do the easy question first and then go back. If you are running out of time, then go to those word and context questions. I like the 2-pass system. I will go through the passage very quickly, almost speed reading it, and then go right to the questions, and then go back a second time and answer the harder questions. And then I will also, for all 45 questions, I'll go through the easy and medium questions first, and then mark the other ones that are harder, and then go back on the second pass and answer those harder ones. Each question is worth the same amount of points, so why spend 3 minutes on one question where you can answer 2 in the same amount of time? So it's an endurance check a little bit. I don't think as long as AP Euro if you took that, but you do need to eat and sleep right the 2 days before the test. A lot of people are like, oh, I just need a good night's sleep the night before. But if you've been running on empty for 2 or 3 days, that won't be good. I don't want you to burn out. This could make the difference between a 3 or a 4 or a 2 or a 3. Okay, 2 won't get you anything. 2s, we don't like to talk about 2s. But a 3 will get you college credit, all the state schools in California, and a 4 will get you college credit, all the UC schools. Questions? Ask me, email me, come to tutorial or Titan Time. I have a class set of these prep books you could look through at any time during Titan Time, which has 4 practice tests. I hope this is helpful.